That's my phone going off. Hang on a minute, I'll turn that off. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today's video is very different, and in fact it's the first time I've done anything like this on YouTube, but I asked you guys a couple of weeks ago on my community tab if there were any questions that you wanted to ask me, and given that I've been spending lots of time at home, I just thought that this might be a good time to sit down in front of the fire. Yes, here in New Zealand we're going into fall, so it's starting to get a bit cooler at night, so I'm sitting here in my comfy clothes and I thought it was a perfect time to answer some of your questions. So thank you very much to everyone who took the time to ask me some questions, and yeah, there were some interesting questions and I think I should just get started. I'm a bit nervous about doing this. I actually don't know why, but I am a little bit nervous. So, and I need my glasses, and I've got your questions here and I need my glasses to read them because I'm a bit blind when it comes to reading things. So let me just see what I've got here. Okay, I might start with one of the more personal questions. So this is from Lisa Hardison, and she asked me, would you want to share about your family? Are you married? And a little more about your kids. You're awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I would love to share a little bit more about my family. I have two sons, a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and as you can imagine, they don't like appearing on my social media much at all. So I think it often appears that I don't have any kids, and that I don't really show a lot of my personal life, I suppose. But yes, I'm a mum of two really awesome boys, and I'm no longer married. I split with my husband almost 2 years ago now, and while that's always tricky times, I'm actually really happy. I've got an amazing boyfriend, and who I'm really missing because we're in level 4 lockdown here in New Zealand at the moment because of coronavirus. The rest of the world is pretty much the same. So it means that I haven't been able to see him for nearly a month now. So that's pretty tricky, but I do have an amazing boyfriend who doesn't spend much time on social media. In fact, he's not really on social media at all, except occasionally he makes some surprise appearances on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I'll leave a link to my Instagram, and you can have a little... that's my phone going off. Hang on a minute, I'll turn that off. Okay, I'm back and I'll turn my phone off. So yeah, he is not really on social media, but as I was saying, he does make some occasional appearances on my Instagram. So yeah, follow me over on Instagram, and I've got a few little things that we've done together on my highlights reel. So if you want to have a little closer look at the main man in my life, you can check him out over there on Instagram. Okay, next question. Hello Leonie, I hope you're doing well. Yes, I am, thank you. My question is, what exactly is your job and how did you end up doing what you are doing? Did you study or was it a coincidence? So I did a communications degree at university and worked as a journalist for a number of years, and I started in newspapers and then I moved into magazines. I worked on a weekly tabloid magazine here in New Zealand and in Australia. And then I spent around 12 years editing some of New Zealand's top women's lifestyle magazines, and one of those magazines was called Fashion Quarterly, and it's I suppose you could say that it's New Zealand's answer to Vogue. And I spent 7 years at the helm of that magazine, which was an amazing opportunity for me. And while I'd always loved fashion, I'd never been in a position where I was so focused on fashion. I'd worked in tabloid magazines, news magazines, but not strictly fashion magazines. And it was really tricky at first because I didn't come from a traditional fashion background, but I knew magazines and I knew how to run a magazine like a small business. And so that's, I suppose, the beginning of my real sort of fashion journey. So that would have been, how many years ago? That was probably about 15 years ago when I got the job as editor of Fashion Quarterly. And yeah, as I said, that was just an amazing experience for me, and I definitely look back at those years as some of the best years of my career, certainly my magazine career. So I left magazines almost 9 years ago now to start up a blog called The Style Insider, surprise, surprise. And that was purely because I could see that print media was, I suppose, dying a bit of a slow death, and I could see the trends that were happening overseas, and that was also going to happen here in New Zealand. So I decided to leave magazines, and I also at the time, just thinking about it, my boys were quite little as well, and I just wanted to spend more time with them, and I wanted to be a mum. I just felt like the compromises that I was making working such a full-on job were just too great, and it just meant that I couldn't spend enough time with my boys. So that was becoming a problem for me. So I decided to set up a blog called The Style Insider, and that was really just to create a digital platform for what I knew to do, which was featuring fashion and beauty and lifestyle content for New Zealand women. So over the last sort of 8-9 years, that's really evolved, and certainly blogs started to take off here in New Zealand. We were a little bit slow to the party when it came to that sort of media. And when I could sort of see the writing on the wall there, I decided to move a little bit more into Instagram. And then about 3 years ago, I really decided that there was just a saturation of blogs and Instagrammers and what are now known as influencers. And I just thought that I would try my hand at YouTube. And it was funny too, because when I first started YouTube, my boys used to give me a bit of a hard time, and I used to say to them, you wait, one of these days I'm going to go viral and I'll end up with my silver play button. And I think one of my sons at the time said, that won't happen to you, Mum, that'll never happen. You'll never get 100,000 subscribers. And I'm quite a competitive person, so I think when he'd sort of set up that challenge, I think something switched in my mind where I thought, right, I'm going to make this happen. So I sort of moved my focus more towards YouTube and sort of realized that I actually really enjoyed this platform, and I loved the interaction because you guys will talk to me in the comments all the time, and that sort of interaction just didn't happen with my blog. So I really enjoyed that, and I loved the feedback that I tend to get from you guys here on YouTube. So yeah, that's just something that I have continued to enjoy. So I've been sort of regularly uploading to YouTube for probably about three years now, I would say. And yeah, it's something that I continue to love and enjoy. And in terms of my work now, so I do YouTube. I also do a little bit on my blog. I do quite a bit of, create quite a bit of content on Instagram. I do create independent content for brands, and I also work in a public relations role a couple of days a week. I was originally helping out covering a friend who owns this business, this PR company. I was covering for one of her girls that was on maternity leave, and that was for 6 months. I did the 6 months. That particular girl decided not to come back after she had her baby, and I've just stayed in doing that. And it's something that I really love because I actually get to go out, work in a really cool office with some other amazing women. And yeah, I've realized since I've been in lockdown that that's something that I do really enjoy. And I've been missing, as I'm sure you guys too are missing your normal day-to-day activities. So that's kind of how I got into it. I hope that sort of answers the question. And hopefully I don't ramble too much because I feel like I am already. My next question here is, we're in lockdown 2, Leonie, so a Q&A video sounds perfect, thank you. What made you decide to start a YouTube channel, and which channels do you subscribe to? So I've just mentioned what made me start a YouTube channel. There are a number of channels that I subscribe to, so I'll leave them linked in the description box below. Just off the top of my head, one of the first channels that I really fell in love with is an Australian YouTuber called Rachel Ost, and I just absolutely love her editing and her whole vibe. She does a sort of a whole lot of stuff like minimalist kind of fitness, health, cooking, lifestyle-y sort of vlogs, and she was kind of one of the reasons that I fell in love with YouTube and decided that it was something that I wanted to do myself. I've also recently just bought a new house and moved in just a couple of weeks before we went into lockdown. So I've been watching quite a lot of DIY sort of home style YouTubers as well. Lone Fox is a real favorite. I love what he does in terms of DIYs at home. Who else do I love? Exo McKenna, another home kind of DIY type of YouTuber. I love her stuff as well. Shea Whitney, I love her fashion. There's so many, so I will link my top and my favorite YouTubers in the description box below. But yeah, I do tend to spend my downtime these days watching YouTube, and I hardly ever watch TV. Oh, I do watch the occasional Netflix show, and I've just finished watching The Tiger King. Wow, like, wow. Please let me know in the comments below if you guys watched that and what you think of it, because that was crazy on so many levels. That guy is just something out of this world. Okay, back to my questions. I got so many here, so thank you. What have I got? Hi there, I love your channel. Are you from New Zealand? What part? I used to live in Wellington back in the early 90s and still have friends there. And this is from Suzanne. So I live in New Zealand. I live here in Auckland. I have been to Wellington. I love it down there. But I'm actually Australian. I'm originally from Sydney, but I came to New Zealand just over 20 years ago with an ex-boyfriend, and we set up a small business here. It's a bit of a long story. He and I split up. He went back to Australia, and I also eventually went back to Australia, but got offered a job back here in New Zealand to come and edit one of the top selling weekly magazines. So I ended up back here and met my husband, had babies, and New Zealand is now my home. I absolutely love New Zealand. I feel like a real patriotic New Zealander, even though I'm actually Australian. So, but my boys are Kiwi boys through and through, and if you ever get the chance to come and visit New Zealand, you should definitely do it. It is the most beautiful country, and yeah, I love calling it home. Okay, this is an interesting question. As a YouTuber, influencer, stylist, do you constantly have to go shopping? How frequently is that? Does this align with your values, or it's a job to you? So far, I have learnt so much from you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. No, I don't feel any pressure at all to go shopping, and you probably notice that I don't do haul type videos. I'm actually really frugal and have always been really careful with my money, so I tend to try and shop really wisely and shop well. And like, yeah, I love shopping for clothes, but there's so many things to spend my money on, so I definitely don't feel pressure to be buying the latest and greatest. Certainly when I was editing magazines and editing the top-selling fashion magazine here in New Zealand, I did feel pressure to be wearing the latest and greatest and wearing New Zealand designers, but I certainly don't feel that pressure anymore. And I'm also, I suppose, a really conscious consumer, and I like to, and you've probably noticed that I do create videos about shopping your own wardrobe, and I don't like to push viewers to buy, because I just, that kind of thinking just doesn't sit well with me. So I hope I've answered that question, but no, I don't feel any pressure, and if anything, I would like to think that my videos will help people look at their existing closets and the clothes that they already own and create some exciting outfits with those, instead of having to just shop and buy more and more and more. I think that that's problematic on so many levels, and it's not something that sits well with me at all. Oh, someone was, Mary Massong was asking me here, I'd love to see a video featuring your greyhounds. Thank you for that. I have actually created a video featuring my greyhounds, which I'll link in the description box below. And it's funny because they are just lying over here on the couch with their feet up in the air and living their absolute best life at the moment. I think they're loving all the attention and having all of us at home here and getting 2 walks a day. And yeah, they are just kind of enjoying this lockdown, probably more so than the rest of us. But yeah, I have created a video on them before. As I said, I'll link it below, and it's probably high time that I update that video anyway. So once lockdown lifts, I'll get out there and film them. Any excuse to take photos and footage of these guys, especially greyhounds running. It's just, it never ever fails to just blow my mind, seeing them completely run free and enjoy just running at speed. It's just such a thing of beauty for me, so I can never ever get tired of seeing them run. So it probably is time that I create another video just featuring them running. Okay, the next question here is a goodie. So what is the one thing that you normally wouldn't have time for or can't seem to make time for that you're enjoying now that we are all stuck at home? That's an easy one for me, because I bought a new house and moved into it just a couple of weeks before we went into lockdown, and so it's been amazing for me to actually have some time to potter and do a little bit of DIY and painting and just faff around and enjoy my new home and do a little bit of gardening and just, I suppose, take the time to get things organized and in order. And the things that I've done would have probably taken me months to do when in normal time, if I was sort of squeezing them in between working and looking after kids and dogs and just life in general. So it's actually been really, really nice for me to have that time to just focus on my new house and spend the time making it my own and putting my touches on it, really. Okay, this is a goodie. How do you avoid the sweats and t-shirt rut when shut in or working from home? Well, some days I don't avoid it. I roll with it, and clearly I'm in leggings and a sweat now. So I think the main thing for me though, and the thing that has sort of kept me sane, has been making sure I get up each morning, I have a shower, I do my hair, I put on some makeup, because I do find on the days where I don't make any effort to do those things, I just find that I'm less productive, and it sounds really silly, but I feel like I'm not as happy. I think if I kind of look a little bit more normal and like my normal self, and I make a little bit more effort, I feel a whole lot better within myself, and I tend to achieve more in the day as well. So I think for me, that's the way that I avoid just sort of lounging around in my sweats and not making an effort. I think I know that when I do make a little bit of an effort, I just feel so much better for it. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, now this is interesting. Joe Dickinson has given me a bit of a a rapid fire load of questions here, so I'll answer a couple of them. She's asked here, coffee or tea? Coffee, definitely coffee. Winter or summer? Definitely summer. I love the warm weather. Can't get enough of the beach and the sunshine, so definitely summer for me. Save or spend? I'm definitely more of a saver than I am a spender, but if I find something that I absolutely love, or if my boys need something, I'm quite happy to spend, if that makes sense. Dog or cat? Both, but if I had to choose, I'd say dog. Netflix or YouTube? Definitely YouTube. That's just hands down. Definitely YouTube, but I also do enjoy Netflix from time to time. Big party or small gathering? That's a tricky one. I think I like big parties because you can sort of you can kind of hide amongst the crowd, and sometimes small gatherings require you to make more effort. So I suppose it depends on my mood, and sometimes I'm more in the mood for a big crazy crowd, but then sometimes I just like smaller, low-key get-togethers with friends. So I'm probably on the fence with that one, and it depends on my mood, if that makes sense. Black or white? Definitely black, definitely black. Passenger or driver? Definitely a driver. I get car sick, so I just don't like being a passenger, and I'm a bit of a control freak, so I like being a driver. Sydney or Melbourne? I'm from Sydney, so that's just a no-brainer. It's definitely Sydney. Sorry, anyone from Victoria, sorry. Day or night? Definitely day, but I'm a real night owl as well, and seem to find my second wind at about 10 o'clock at night, which is never great because I stay up too late, but it's definitely day. Yeah. Text or call? I think text. I don't know, I think I get a little bit bored talking on the phone, and I think in the last couple of weeks, when that's all I've had, I'd much rather text. Yeah, text, definitely. Singing or dancing? I like both. I'm a crap singer. I think I'm an okay dancer. I'm probably a crap dancer, but probably dancing. Yeah. Flowers or trees? Definitely trees, because I don't like the fact that flowers don't live long enough. Fire or ice? Now this rapid fire went on and on and on. Fire or ice? Probably fire, because I just don't like the cold. I really struggle in the cold. Okay, next question. I think this might need to be the last. And this is a goodie. Do you think there is an age limit to fashion? You know, I actually don't think that there is. I think that fashion should be about self-expression, and it should be about fun. And I always say, if you feel great in something, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. But if I look at that personally, I think that there are fashion pieces that I personally really love, but I'm now 53, and I think at my age, well, I always ask myself the question, am I too old for this? Should I still be wearing this? And I think that's more about just not wanting to look like I'm trying to be younger than I am. And I suppose in some respects I shouldn't worry about that, because I shouldn't worry what other people think. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I think my sweeping answer on that one is that I don't think that there should be any barriers to fashion, whether it be age or whatever, body type. I think just within reason, and I think you also instinctively know if something looks good on you, and often we have lost sight and don't trust our own instincts enough. So I think to answer that, there shouldn't be any limitations. There is no age limit to fashion. If you feel great in it and it makes you happy, then I would just say wear it and enjoy it, because life's too short. Anyway, that is it from me today, and I hope I didn't ramble too much. I do feel a little nervous doing this, I think because it's more personal than I have ever done before. But if you do have any questions that you would like me to answer that I haven't covered off in this video, please just drop them in the comments below, and who knows, there might be another little part 2 of this fireside chat. And if not, so be it. I do have some fun and exciting fashion videos coming up. I've got my bathroom makeover video coming up, which I can't wait to share with you guys, because it's the first time I've done anything quite like this before. So I'm really excited to show you what I've done. And yeah, so please give this one a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. Please stay safe in these crazy, crazy times, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
I won't make it easy for you now. You got 2 minutes of my time, and I don't really break too easily, but I'm worth it, 'cause I'll slip into your dreams tonight. Oh,